Hey, what's up guys? It's Pete here with mixbetternow.com, and today I have a video for you. I want to show you how to use the plugin Auto Align from Sound Radix to get the phase alignment on your drums as close as possible. But before I do that, please do me a favor. Please hit subscribe, please hit like, and please sign up for the email list. We got lots of free stuff for you. All right, let's jump right in. So those of you asking what is Auto Align, just show you very quickly. Auto Align is a phase correction plugin, a phase alignment plugin from the good folks at Sound Radix, and it basically is an automatic microphone alignment and phase correction plugin. It is primarily used on drums, but I also use it on bass or anywhere I'm duplicating the waveform. Basically, the idea is when you're miking something and you have multiple microphones set up, you can try as hard as you can to avoid phase cancellation, but it isn't always foolproof. And this is just another way to make sure that your drums are in phase, and that also equals punch, fatness, definition, and add some clarity to the overall sound. Let's get back into Pro Tools here. I have some drums pulled into a session, your standard usual suspects, if you will. Kick in, kick out, snare top, snare bottom, hats. We got 2 toms, overhead left and right, 3 room mics, a mono room, and a room left and right. I haven't done anything here, literally just dragged the drums in. Let's hear what they sound like real quick. All right, so as you can hear, they're pretty good sounding drums. Everything was recorded really well, but I want to use Auto Align now to tighten everything up as close as possible to get the phase alignment as good as we can. So here's the idea. I usually start with it on my overhead left. Now, before I pull it on the plugin open, I just want to say that I often see guys doing 2 things that I personally don't agree with. One is I see people using the snare top microphone as the point of reference, as the control, if you will. And I don't like doing that because in the snare top, you're only really getting snare or sometimes some kick bleed. And when I use the overhead, it allows me to get an overall perspective of the drum kit, because in the overhead mics, you can hear kick drum, snare drum, toms, hats, cymbals, all that good stuff. And you can't in the snare microphone, or at least you shouldn't in the snare mic. So if I had one mic and I had to mic a drum kit, what would I do? Where would I put it? I would put, an overhead mic up. And the second thing is I often see people leaving the overheads in stereo, and I personally like to split them because I like to take whichever overhead has more snare and kick in it, and it's generally the overhead left. The reason being, most drummers are right-handed, so your snare drum is going to be on the left-hand side. So you're going to get more transient information coming through. That being said, let's throw Auto Align on here. So Auto Align might look a little confusing, but it's really pretty simple. So we have sends and receives and a noise floor, and we set all of those things to taste, and then we line everything up. So I start, like I said, on the overhead left, and I'm going to play it, and I'm going to adjust the noise floor accordingly. So I'm going to make that send 1 because I am going to make everything else receive 1. Sending from the overhead left, and everything else is going to be receiving it from there. So that's all we do with the first plugin is we hit it, set it to send 1. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to deselect all my drums, and I am going to just solo the drums that I am phase aligning with Auto Align. So we have overhead left. Now let's bring in the overhead right. And typically, if the engineer or whoever is recording the session mics the drums, they should make sure that the overheads are in phase, with the snare and the kick and the rest of the kit. This will tell us if they are in fact in phase or not. We are going to set the receive to 1 because the send on overhead left was send 1. So let's look in the spectrograph here, make sure that our noise floor is good in conjunction with that. Okay, and the next step up here is we're gonna hit delay and polarity, and I like to use the delay and polarity option on drums because if something's out of phase here, it will flip the polarity on the switch, which is a great option. So we hit delay and polarity, and then we hit detect, and then we hit play and let it do its thing. All right, so it's 11 samples off, and that means that the overheads are pretty much in phase, which is a great thing. The next thing I'm gonna put it on with these tracks that I have here is I'm gonna go to the mono room. I have it labeled as room C or room center. I'm not gonna put it on room left and right just yet, and I will explain why. But first, let's get this dialed in, hit receive 1, set our noise floor. Okay, we're gonna go delay and polarity, and then we're gonna hit detect. All right, so as you can see from the number here, 159 samples off. Room mics should be a bit out of phase, if you will, with the rest of the kit, because if you think about the use, the objectiveness of using room mics on a drum kit is to gain a bit of space, right? Is to make the room that you're actually recording in, you know, seem bigger and to emphasize the size of that room. For that reason, I'm not going to line up the room left and room right with the overheads. If I do that, it's gonna bring the room mics forward, and we want to keep that distance, and we want to keep our room sound and use those room mics to gain some size and some liveliness and some natural reverb. So the reason I'm doing the mono mic is because I want it to kind of be a part of the overhead sound and a part of the tonality of the overall drum kit. So I'm gonna come back to these to the room left and right. So next up, I'm gonna go to the kick in, and we will throw auto align on kick in. Receive 1. Let's get our level. And one thing I just want to point out when doing the kick and snare is that you want to use the graph in the middle. It's going to light up when it hears a transient, such as a kick hit or a snare hit. And with the kicks and snares, I only want it to be lighting up when the kick is hitting, and with the snares, I only want it to light up when the snare is hitting. You can get drum bleed in the mics, and sometimes the kick can pick up the snare and vice versa. So by setting the noise floor, I can ensure that it is only paying attention to the kick transients on the kick mic. Okay, and that looks good. So we're going to hit the delay and polarity and detect. All right. So when it phase aligned, I heard it kind of get a little bit more punchy, a little fatter, and a little bit more clarity came through, which is awesome. I'm gonna also skip the kick out for now because I am going to phase align the kick out to the kick in. So I'm gonna go through and line everything up that I want to line up to my overhead left first, and then we'll go back and we will do the individual elements that we're gonna phase align later. So next I'm going to do the snare top. And the reason's simple is because if you think about a kick out mic or a snare bottom mic is a snare top and a snare bottom is pointing at each other. and you're going to probably get phase cancellation when that happens. So I don't want to line the bottom up to the overheads. I want to line it to the top of the snare drum, because I want that snare drum to kind of, you know, be one sound. It's one drum, and we're blending the two mics, the top and the bottom, together to create one sound. And it's the same concept with the kick drum. So that's why I'm just doing the kick in and the kick top right now. So let's go ahead and open another one. We'll receive one, set our level. That looks good. Delay and polarity and detect. Cool, 89 samples corrected. Let's go ahead to the hats and throw it on the hi-hat. And don't worry, everything that I'm skipping, we're going to come back to, and I will show you what I do with that. Receive one, get our level. Okay, delay and polarity and detect. Very cool. Let's do the toms, rack tom. I just have to go through and find a tom hit. The tom mics picked up quite a bit, a bunch of the overall kit in this. Okay, let's pop it on the tom. And that's okay if you're not, you know, you don't have multiple repetitious tom hits. You just want to at least definitely get one or two in there and let it roll. So we're going to receive from one. Okay, delay and polarity and detect. All right, we're going to do the same thing on the floor tom. And receive from one. Cool. Flip our switch here, hit detect, let it roll. Sometimes, as you can tell, it takes a while to correctly align the phase. That's okay, just let it keep going, and it eventually will. Yeah, so this one was a little bit farther off at 158 samples. All right, so now we have all the main elements that we want to be aligned with the overhead left, which is the overhead right, the mono room mic or the room center mic, the kick in, the kick top, the hi-hats, and the toms. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the room left, and we'll solo that up. Bring in another instance of auto align. Now here's where this differs, okay? I'm gonna go send to. And again, this is gonna kind of be our control, because I'm gonna send this to, this is room left, I'm gonna send it to room right. So we're gonna load it into room right. And I'm gonna go, instead of receive one as before, I'm gonna hit receive two. Solo that, get our level. And again, doing this is just going to ensure that our left and right room mics are, you know, in phase with each other. Delay and polarity and detect. +2 samples means they are definitely in phase with each other. So now I'm going to go to the kick out mic and we're going to load auto align in. But I'm also going to open the kick in and I'm going to set an out here. So I'm going to send this to 3 and I'm going to hit receive 3. The reason I can't do 1 or 2 is because 1 is being sent from the overhead left and then 2 is being sent from the room left. So now I'm doing the kick in is sending 3 and we're receiving 3 here on the kick out. So we're gonna line up the kick mics here, get our level. And again, we're just gonna make sure that we're only picking up the kick drum transients in the spectrograph here. That looks good. Delay and polarity and detect. I'll actually bring it back a little bit here. All right, there we go. Got 89 samples. I definitely heard the bottom end come out a little bit in the kick out, which is what it's gonna do. It's what you'll want. Last up, we have the snare bottom. So we're gonna solo it. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna load in auto align on the snare bottom, and I am going to. This is gonna be receive 4. We gotta send the top first. So I'm gonna send 4. Oops, just missed it. And I missed it again. Okay, send 4 because we have used 1, 2, and 3 in other sends. So we're sending the snare top and we're gonna receive 4 on the snare bottom. And get our level. Delay and polarity and detect to bring it home. Here we go. Awesome. So that was the last drum. And now everything is aligned. I'm going to play it here. Let's tighten this up a little bit. I'll play it here from a verse, and then I'm going to bypass everything in and out, and you could hear the phase relationship go away. And what's going to happen when I bypass it is we're going to lose a lot of that punch, a lot of that fatness and that clarity that we're gaining from using auto align and getting all of our drums in phase. All right, so let's check it out, hear what that sounds like. All right, so when I bypass that, what I'm kind of hearing is it's, you know, our image is getting smeared a little bit and we're losing that tightness, that low end, that punch that we're getting from the kick and the snare in particular. So yeah, this is how I use auto align, okay? I hope this helps you guys out in some way. Hope you got something from this. Just remember, please, to use the overhead left as your primary control and set your everything to that except the kick out and the snare top. You want to set the kick in and the kick out to each other, as well as the snare top and the snare bottom, because they're acting as one drum, even though there's 2 mics. And the same with the room left and the room right as well. I don't like to set my room mics, the left and the right, to my overheads because I want to keep that distance in the overall sound. It keeps the depth in our overall drum tone, and to me that's a good thing. So yeah, anyway, this is auto align. Quick little brief, well, not too brief, but an explanation of it nonetheless. Hope you guys got something from this. If you guys have any questions, if you're having any trouble using auto align, feel free to leave me some comments below. But please do me a favor. Please hit subscribe. Please hit like, and please sign up for the email list if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Have a great day.